What's up, everybody? James Zhang here. Welcome to the Kingdom Builders podcast. This is a podcast that is committing to helping the faith-based entrepreneur to provide biblical principles, help you with succeeding, wisdom, so that you can build your influence and expand your impact in order to elevate God's kingdom. And today, I have a real special friend of mine. If you don't know Simon Chan, you definitely need to get to know him. But we're going to talk everything from consistency to online business, to faith, to so many different things. So share this, like this, subscribe to our YouTube if you have not yet already. But I'm so honored to introduce you to my friend Simon Chan. But Simon, how are you, my man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me here, James. It's an honor.
Absolutely. If you guys don't know Simon, quick story. I've known Simon for over a decade. I actually knew him from afar. We got involved. We were in the same business over a decade ago. He was on stage. He was making millions. He did extremely well. And I was one of those people in the back of the room taking notes. And I said, one day it'd be amazing if I got a chance to know Simon. And we've, over the course of the years, God's brought us together. And I know Simon's a man of faith. And let me introduce him real quick, all right? If you don't know Simon, he is known as the Oprah of MLM. He has a top-rated podcast that you got to check out called MLM Nation. It's in the captions as well, too. He's interviewed over 500 people in the MLM industry, from the top of the top to anyone, and he's dedicated to helping those in the network marketing profession be able to make at least an extra $1,000 a month and so much more as well, too. But besides that, just recently, he has launched a best-selling book that is called The Consistency Pill. We've read it. We've seen it. He did a training for a team about it. It is amazing because whatever business you're involved in, whatever you need to do in life, parenting, it doesn't matter. Consistency is a very, very big key. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And also, I know Simon's become a man of faith in his recent years as well, too. But Simon, for those of us that don't know you, do you mind running through your story into what brought you into this entrepreneurial space in the beginning?
You know, I'm a shy, quiet Asian kid from Brooklyn, New York. And I was just taught to study hard and get a good job. And was basically, that's what I was planning to do. Climbed the corporate ladder. I had a job that I liked. It was low paying, but I loved the job. I had good mentors there. And then I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which totally just like, oh my goodness, I wish I read this when I was a kid. You know, like, there's a thing called passive income where you don't need to work and still get paid. Because I knew all my mentors and the people, like the paradigm was like, you know, my dad was a doctor. It was just basically be a doctor or work or be a lawyer or just engineer or just work hard and climb your way up, save your money and make some investments. I never knew you once you start a business, you have residual income. I never knew how that worked. Yeah. So it was fascinating. I realized I needed to get out of there. And I was searching for different businesses. I didn't have much money to get started. And long story short, I read Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren as well. And I felt that God's purpose for me was to have a positive impact as many lives as possible. And the profession, the industry that allowed me to do that was direct selling. And so I was very skeptical and read a lot of books to study about the industry, research it before I finally decided this is what God wanted me to do. And that's how I got started in 2003, 20 years ago.
Wow. And the rest is history. Since then, he's made millions in the industry, built gigantic teams. And since then is a coach, a generic coach for any different network marketing companies out there as well, too. And it's interesting because when we talk about entrepreneurship and faith, one of the big stories we talk about in the network marketing realm is that network marketing is very similar to how the Christian faith expanded. In fact, one of the future books I'd love to write is Jesus, the Master Networker, or something like that. But did you find that to be the case when in your faith walk versus there's just the network marketing journey? What similarities do you see there?
Well, when I first started, I didn't know any similarities. And then when I start growing a small team and start duplicating, that's when I realized I was teaching my team that what's the most successful network marketing company? And then there was these companies. I think, no, they're wrong. I think outside the box. And the most successful network marketing company, if you take it from a non-spiritual perspective, non-believer perspective, is the Christian church. You know, it's basically one person with a team of 12 people, and one actually even betrayed him. But that 11 people, 11, right? There was 11 wide, became billions.
Mm,
And then,
mm,
so you think about if you want to duplicate an organization, think about what the church does,
mm,
and then you duplicate that, right? So,
mm,
for example, that's what meeting is very important. Meeting.
mm,
If just online meetings are very important, then the church wouldn't need to meet,
mm,
right? But that doesn't work. Church
mm.
meets. You talk about social events, right? Not everyone, and I think this is something people do in network marketing where they push the teams really hard. Like if you and I made that mistake. I used to be like, if you're not like me, if you're not grinding, oh, you're gonna be a loser. You're never gonna be successful. Making people feel bad, you're
Yeah.
not gonna grow. Your team's not gonna grow. And that was
Mm,
like me as well. But if you look at the church, they accept all types of levels, right? And again, I'm speaking it from a non-Christian perspective, right? They do like church basketball.
mm,
Like you don't go to small groups, but you're part of the church, or you can even bring church friends. Come. That's how that your church expands.
mm,
Small groups, you meet in small groups. Basically, that's what a leader does, right? Your team gets too big, then you have new leaders, and you start cell groups, small group Bible studies. It's kind of like in network marketing. Your team gets too big, you get branch out to smaller groups. Each leader takes their own team calls.
mm,
Your social, your church barbecues, picnics, the same thing. You do that, you create that team culture, even if they're not because you look at the church, not everyone's going to be a small group leader, not everyone's going to be, leading a Bible study, but it doesn't
mm,
matter. They feel welcome. They're all part of belonging. The church is very
mm,
good at making people feel belong. Those are the ones
mm.
that grow the most.
That's true.
So that was my aha moment. I started leading my teams like what would the church would do.
Mm,
Because it's not just about the church, it's about humans. The things that the church people go to the church for is because of certain type of fulfillment,
mm,
right? Like
mm,
if you talk about downlines, there's only 4 reasons why people stay.
mm,
Number one is they love the product. If you
mm.
love the product, they'll stay. Number two is they make money.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, number one is they make money. Right. But I just spoke for 60 minutes, so my brain's a little fried right now.
Oh,
I have to
good.
be totally honest. Number one is they make money, right? They make
Mm,
money, they're not going to quit. But a lot of people, they don't make money yet.
mm,
So, but that doesn't mean your business is going to fall apart. You can still keep the people, right? And
mm.
that's like in church. That making money will be the equivalent of being a pastor. Not everyone who goes to the church is going to become a pastor,
True.
right? But that doesn't mean they leave the church.
Mm,
Number one, they make money. Number two, they love the product. Right?
mm-hmm.
If you love the product, you're not going to leave. People in the church, they love God. Number three is the community is very important.
Mm,
If you have
mm.
a community, people will stay there,
Yep.
right? And you see that in church where maybe some people go to church, they didn't even like that sermon. They say it's long, but they go there because their friends all go there. So
That's
they go,
true.
right? And then the last one is fulfillment. That's
Mm,
very important. In church, when you go there, there's definitely fulfillment. You're doing
mm,
the right thing. Your
mm,
relationship with God. And network marketing is you got to let people feel fulfilled. And I remember when I first started, I wasn't making much money, but I felt I was on the right track.
mm,
And I shared an aha moment. My first leader I developed, and he hit this rank, which was silver, which meant
mm.
they made $1,000 one week. Now this is not a weekly $1,000 check. This is one-time $1,000 check. And the next week he went back to 100 or back to $50 or something like that. But he told me, Simon. By the way, he was the first person in his family to go to college, ever. Making that $100 check was the last time he did something so fulfilling was when he made his high school baseball team.
Wow.
That was more important than graduating from college. More important than being the first person in his family to graduate from college. Because he felt like college, getting a good job at a bank was something he was supposed to do, not something he really wanted it. And so when he told me that, I said, wow, that was more than your 4-year degree. I said, yeah. Why? Well, because I felt that was the right thing to do. But getting that silver rank was something he really worked hard for. And that's where I realized if you want to build a team, it's not just about the money, it's about the fulfillment. Can you make your team feel fulfilled? And if you can, they will stay with you.
That's a major deal. By the way, you are bringing the house down on fire, Simon. My fire alarm is going off as we speak. That means that there's going to be something amazing going on here, guys. So let me grab that real quick.
Yep.
You think we'll be okay? Make sure we're not going to burn down and stuff. Give me a quick second, guys.
Yeah.
You know, and especially as we go into spiritual topics, I'm sure you've seen this as well too, is one thing in Genesis, what's interesting is you notice that there is creation followed by disruption. And any single time you make a decision, especially as an entrepreneur, and especially when we're talking about faith-based things as well too, I'm always fascinated. I want to actually ask you about this as well too, Simon, because it deals with consistency. There always seems to be a struggle. There always seems to be disruption. I mean, right here, we're like building a furnace because our furnace has been out for a while. And then like the smoke alarm went off. So we're okay and everything. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? And this is one of those things in any path to success, in any entrepreneurial endeavor. We're talking about network marketing, but this is any business. There's always disruption that gets in the way of consistency and everything as well. But what's your take or attitude when challenges come up in your goals?
That's the time to shine, because I read the book. So someone gave me this book, The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson, Christian book, and it was one of the best books I read. And basically said that in every it's the Dream Giver. And I read it back in 2005. It was one of the best books I read, Christian book. Bruce Wilkinson is pretty famous. He also wrote The Prayer of Jabez, I believe. So he said that if you look at all the heroes in the Bible, before the breakthrough, they had the worst moments, toughest moments. From I have a brain freeze. When he was Abraham about to have to sacrifice his son Isaac. Yeah. Right. He took him forever to finally have a kid, and God wanted to have him slaughtered at the altar. He's about to kill his son. His son, Isaac, was too young. He didn't even know what his dad was doing. And then after that, he had his breakthrough. It was the biggest test. Moses had his biggest test before he had the breakthrough. Jesus had the test. Jonah, they had a test. But here's the thing. Here's the lessons. God will never push you beyond what you can bear. Now, it may be 99% to where you're about to break down and die and go crazy, but you never go at 100%. And the one, when you can overcome that 1%, that's when God's going to give you all the blessings. And I think when I read that book, a lot of times before that, I used to say, well, this is going to be so smooth. I'm on the right track, everything. No, you don't get punched and knocked off, and it's going to be terrible. But once you overcome that, but God will never test you beyond what you can bear. There's always a way out. Now, the way out may not be visible. You may not see it. It may seem impossible. There is a tiny way out. The way out it may take you forever to see it, but the way out is there. But once you go the way out, God will give you all the blessings. And that will really help me out a lot. So, my life has definitely a lot of challenges now. And there's always been challenges. And my late mentor, Jim Rohn, told me you always want problems, because the only person without a problem is a dead person, right? So if you have a problem, that means you're alive and living, you're making things happen. But the breakthroughs are there. There's all these things I can quote, like the breakthroughs happen after the breakdowns. You don't have a breakdown, but right after there's a breakthrough. And then in your entrepreneur journey, your life journey is never going to be like this. It's always this and down, and then up a little bit and down, up a little bit, peaks and valleys. Yeah. But overall, it's going to go up. If you stay true to God and stay true to your faith and stay loyal, He will guide you. And a lot of times what He guides you is not what you want. Yeah. But His plan is always, there's a saying, it's always longer, it's always harder, but God's plan is always better.
True. Amen to that. Hey, if you guys are listening to this, watching this, we are with Simon Chan, founder of MLM Nation, best-selling author of The Consistency Pill. We're talking about all different types of things. If you've been tested, comment test, whether watching this live or on replay, because I think we can all relate to that. And I'd love to even find out as well, as you're going through these tests, and you mentioned your faith keeping you strong. I think any entrepreneur, you need some type of faith, right? In Think and Grow Rich, it's faith. You develop it with whatever you believe and stuff like that. And that's kind of the best that they can do if you don't have faith. Faith is in who He is. But in your entrepreneur journey, whether it's your network marketing career, your podcast, even the launch of your book, like in the tough moments, how has your faith kept you strong? What do you think have been some of the advantages there?
That's a great question. I think the faith first comes from just being grateful, gratitude. I always think about this every day. Like, I don't deserve 95% of the stuff I have. And I remember, for example, I was single. I couldn't get any girl. I was like, oh, God can bless me with, women, how am I ever going to get married, and like what's going to happen to my family, and God's blessed me with so many things. Like I would never imagine, right? Blessed me with a great wife, a great mother with Christian values. Never would have imagined it. And I'm like a sports, when I was young, before my first life, before I got to become an entrepreneur, I was like a sports freak, like, 24/7, fantasy, baseball, basketball. And then I was going to business, and then God blessed me with a son that's really, all three of my boys are really athletic. Right? My oldest son really loves, really hardcore into sports. And now he's like, we have a great bond. I never deserve any of this. And God has blessed me so many things I never expected. So it's like, not everything I wanted is God gave me, but God gave me a lot of things I never expected, never wanted, and turned out to be a huge blessing. I never thought I'd be living in LA when I was like 30 years ago, but I never expected this, never envisioned this. So he's giving me so many things. So you have to trust the process. So it starts off with gratitude. Think about the things that you have today that you never expected. That were blessings. And I have so many blessings. Every day I pray to God, it's like, I don't deserve any of this. You give me so many things. You know better. So coming from that attitude, it's like the stuff I'm going through right now may not be, Simon himself cannot comprehend it, but I trust that God will get me there. Right? God will get me there. Because just like the way I am now, it's got me a lot of things that other people don't have. And yes, it may not be, it's different. There's a lot of different blessings too, right? Blessings doesn't mean just health or money, right? There's actually studies done. Once you hit a certain amount of money, more money doesn't make you happy.
Yeah.
Right. More money definitely doesn't make you happy, because there's a lot of people who are very, very wealthy, very miserable, and need drugs to medicate themselves, right? So
yes,
you got to think about the blessings you have and trust God in the process.
Blessing in the Bible means happiness. It means joy, fulfillment, the words that you're talking about. What's the purpose of having all the money in the world and having no joy with that? The life's worst scenario right there. But it's so true, everything you just said, Simon. Faith is so key. And I love that paradigm shift, because whenever I think about prayer, usually, if I'm going to be honest, I'm thinking about the prayers that didn't get answered, or they get answered not the way that I want them to. But let's flip the paradigm. There's an assignment for everybody. Think about the things that you never even prayed for that you got blessed with. There's so many. I don't even think about that, Simon, but that's an instant shift. And I never heard it that way, to get to being grateful. So I want to now.
Another thing this is recent, I just shared with my boys.
Yeah.
Like I was watching some video, right? One video on Instagram. I think it was repurposed from TikTok, but it showed like a kid that was waiting for a bus, right? Waiting for a bus. And then the bus, he got on the bus stand, and the bus left. And then like 5 minutes later, 2 cars got in an accident and crashed into the bus stand. 5 minutes. If it was 5 minutes later, that could have been dead, right? So we think always like about, I didn't get this. But what about when God's working behind the scenes that we didn't know about? Exactly. Like, what about like when I was crossing that street and, and I was fine when I was a kid, maybe I was crossing that street, but later on, there's someone that came in, car accident, I would have been run over, right? Because if you think about like accidents that happen, but I was reading something from this other author. He lost his nephew because he was driving to work at 6:50 a.m. in the morning in LA, and he got in a car accident intersection. Some crazy driver was drunk from drinking the whole night, hit him, and he's dead on the spot. Right now, if he was 1 second later, split second later, he probably would have lived.
Right.
Split second earlier, he would have lived. But it just happened that timing. So we don't even know, James. Like all the times when God has watched us, and we didn't even know. Like we're safe, we're talking right now, but He's blessed us, and we didn't even know about it.
True. Amen to that, everybody. Hey, if you feel blessed right now, type blessed in the chat as well too.
Definitely blessed.
Always. I'm gonna add that to my daily my DMO, which go daily method of operation to get into gratitude, which goes into consistency. Because Simon, I know you are consistency pro, and consistency is one of those things. In fact, even today, right before we were recording this, Simon, as you heard, he's super athletic, but so are his children as well too. And specifically, one of his sons is like an all-star pitcher, right? And he's in high school now, correct? Is he that age now? Or
no, he is. By the way, I am putting things on because just like your furnace is getting fixed. We're the real deal here. You know what, King?
Yeah.
I work in a garage and I live in LA, and normally it's like 70s, but it is right now only 57 degrees. I also fast. So when I fast, I get even colder. So it's I'm like, feels like it's 30 degrees. I have to wear this. Hold on. I thought that would show me better for branding, but like I'm like freezing. All right, I can focus now. My son is only 11. 11
He's
and a
only
half.
11? Oh my
But
God.
the goal is, we have big dreams and big goals, and he loves baseball. He wants to be a professional player. So I'm doing the best to support his dreams and put him in the right position. We'll see how far it goes, but we got to dream big, right?
Yeah.
Dream big in mind.
It's a huge thing. Oh my gosh. I mean, he looks like he's like older and he comes across like that as well too. But I bring that up because to do anything successful in life, whether it's baseball or school or your business or anything or marriage, consistency is a big thing. And it's almost so cliche, Simon, that we're like, of course, consistency, of course. But there's a big difference of consistency that yields success versus what I think a lot of people think consistency is, because we deal with a lot of people all the time that say they're consistent. And I think most people that are listening to this, they would say they're decently consistent. We can always be better. But I know you've broken down a system on how to really be consistent to yield success. But what are some of the things that you've noticed, Simon, that you have a formula on how to be consistent and successful? But can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, well, consistency is doing it every day, right? If you're not doing it every day, you're not consistent. Like with my son, if you saw the Facebook post, like he's been pitching pretty well lately. It's because 2.5 months ago, we got this strength training program, but bands. It's not that much; it's only 5 minutes a day, and he's been doing it 7 days a week. Maybe he missed one day because he pitched a lot; he was sore. But basically, in the last 60-something days, he's done it 58 times, 57 times, except for maybe a tournament day, and it's helped. And even now, lately, he's been doing it on tournament days. Right? He sees the results. He's gotten stronger, and he's not as sore and tired after his games. But with the consistency, and I have like a cheat sheet. If people want it, they can download it. They can reach out to me. The consistency system, consistency system. There's 7 components. Right? I summarized it from the book. So if you want anything, number 1, you need a checklist. You need a specific thing to do. Checklist. So getting back to baseball, my boys, specific checklist for pitching. He has a checklist, right? He has a specific. Let's just talk about the bands. He has a thing he has to do. Number 2 is you have to create and schedule the time. It's like you have a routine, right? If it's not in the calendar, it's not going to happen. With my son, it's every day after school. I'm up, in 30 minutes from now, I got to pick him up. He has a routine. He eats some fruit and eats some carbs. And then he rests for 10 minutes and he does his bands. After he does his bands, then we have a hitting routine for 20-25 minutes. That's about a 40-minute workout. That's 7 days a week. But we do that. Okay, 7 days a week. He's been doing that. The bands we started recently because he's got more into pitching, but the hitting, we've been doing hitting since basically 7 days a week since he was 5 years old for the last 6 years. Last 6 years. Then we missed maybe only 30-40 days.
Wow.
Okay, we do it all. Now, sometimes it's not that much. And some people think I'm crazy. My wife thinks I'm crazy. But even on vacations, I bring a bat. We swing in a parking lot in a hotel for like 3 or 4 minutes just to get 20 swings in, just to get that feeling, right? Because you never want to go rusty. Okay, now, there's 20, 30 swings in a parking lot, hitting paper balls or wiffle balls, man, it does make a difference. I really believe it because it definitely helped me in success. Right? So you got to create and schedule the time. All right, so whatever you want to do, create and schedule the time. Number 3 is determine the strategy. What's the strategy? And that would determine your checklist. So when we hit, there's a strategy. We do certain type of T work. We use certain type of tools. We go from like T work. And by the way, I played basketball. Most people don't know this, but I played college basketball. I wasn't a good player. I was a bench warmer, but I could say I played D1 basketball. But for baseball, I totally sucked. Okay, that was way back before YouTube or whatever. But I learned just from watching videos, personal development, investing my son in coaching, which is investing in coaching, investing in camps, going to events, tournaments, and then I learned. and then we have a routine down. So component number 3 is strategy. So this summer coming up, we're going to he's going to a 3-day camp at Stanford.
Wow.
Right, and that's part of dreaming. I always teach him that where you're going to be 5 years from now is determined by your personal development, the people you meet, and where you go. And he read this book, Heads Up Baseball, which is a mindset book, which totally helped him out with mindset. He used to be very frustrated, helped him stay calm. And pitching is about, especially baseball, where you're getting striking out, you're getting rejection, all the time. Mindset, right? So again, 5 years from now, where you're going to be, it's going to be by your personal development, right? So where you're going to be 5 years from baseball is your personal development, the people you meet. Could be you meet a coach, and he's on a great team right now. Go to Gladiators. It's because we went to the team. I became friends with the dad. He invited me there, right? And then also we went at your places and the events you go to. We went to Florida last year. He thought he was good. He saw some kids are really, really good. And that inspired him to take things to the next level. And that's where we're going to Stanford, to dream big, right? Yeah. Stanford baseball is a top 10, top 5 program in America. So and academically as well, wanting to dream big. So number 3 is determine the strategy, right? Number 4 is choose your environment. Your environment. Where are you going to practice? We practice at home. We have a batting cage at home. We practice. What's your environment? For me, I remember when I was building in Malaysia, I lived in a tiny 400 square foot apartment. My wife was like 11 o'clock at night because of the time zone. She was like, I cannot hear you making another call anymore. You got to shut up. I'm going crazy. Because I'm prospecting, saying the same thing over and over again. It's not like same conversation, right? So I would walk on the streets of Manhattan, on the Santa Monica, using a prepaid phone card and just talking. But that inspired me. I found a park, Santa Monica Business Park in Colorado on 26. I'll sit there on a bench by the water fountain and make prospecting calls. And that would fire me up, right? Choose that environment. Number 5 is tracking. You have to track your progress. Like I didn't even realize my son was how he's doing, his pitch counts, everything. You got to track your progress. Yeah. Track how many people you reached out to. What time? How's your social media doing? Who are you reaching out to? Track your progress. Component number 6 is using tools. The toolbox. Like for my son, toolbox with a radar gun. We have his bands. We bought these special bands. Measures his arm strength, right? In your business, toolbox, a calendar, right? A contact, something that tracks your contacts. A timer, urgency, setting a specific time, right? Not being stuck on checking messages or Facebook or checking your social media for an hour to get nothing done. Yeah, social media is good, especially a creator, right? You know how it is, James. You want to look, see what other people are doing, but so easy to be surfing for 1 hour and not creating content. I know I'm saying 10 minutes, and then I gotta do something. I'm not gonna be just a consumer, just just watching. I gotta go create content.
Exactly.
And then number 7 is accountability. You definitely need accountability. And then, tools give it accountability, records accountability, a coach, a mentor, that's accountability as well. So those are the 7 components. Whatever goal that you all want to shoot for, you have to apply these 7 components. Otherwise, you're going to fall short.
That's a huge thing. And guys, if you want that 7 steps checklist, definitely comment below checklist. Or is it on your website, Simon, or do they get it from somewhere else?
It's not on my website. It's actually my pro. Just message me. Hey, DM me. I actually reply and read every DM messages. It may take me, not immediately reply back, but I'll reply back. Just message me. I'll give you a free download.
So awesome. And this is like a cake, guys, because in a cake, if you got 7 ingredients, but you take out 1, it ain't a cake. So we got checklist, schedule a time, create a strategy, choose your environment, track what you're doing, have your toolbox and accountability. You have those 7 things with a worthy goal, whatever that you want, you will be able to become consistent. So I also want to ask you this, Simon, and it's amazing because I think we can learn a lot from your 11-year-old son, because we're talking to kingdom-based entrepreneurs. We're talking to people of all ages, demographics, industries, and everything. And we all have those down moments. We all have those times where we're like, I don't want to be consistent. Like, I don't want to go do this. I don't want to make my phone calls. It's getting boring, blah, blah, blah. And if anyone has a short attention span or lack of self-discipline, it would be an 11-year-old boy. Like, I remember when I was 11 years old, I didn't want anything to do with discipline. So what do you do in those moments when you don't want to be consistent? What are some of the things that are really helpful? during that time?
Yeah. Well, my other two boys are gonna feel really left out. So I'm just kidding. But they're a big part of. They're very advanced for their age as well
Yeah.
in terms of sports. But we're human. Just like my 11, don't forget about 11-year-old. There's things that I don't want to do, right? I have a call my accountability partner on Thursday. Okay? You definitely need accountability. That's component number 7, right? The most important one is accountability. So with my son, he's 11, but his accountability is me. I make him do it, right? And I think now he knows a little bit like, I want to win. If I'm not working out, my competition's working out. And so you have the feeling of win, which feels great, or losing, which feels sucks, right? So he knows that if I want to win, I got to do this. And it's like it compounds. The more he does it, the more he wins. The more he does well. The more he does well, I'm going to do more, right? And the more you do well, then you want to work out. Like, for example, the bands. Initially, he was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But now he's getting results, so he does it. The more he does it, he does even better. And every day you're doing it and someone else not doing it, you get a little bit better. Then he just pitched in a great tournament this past weekend. Now, even on the tournament day at night, he did it. It compounds. It compounds. Right? It's just like prospecting. When I first started, I was terrible. It took me 42 people to get my first sign up. Then I got a sign up. I started doing a little bit more, and I got close to another customer. I felt good. Then the more I did it, I got better and better and better. And then it just snowballs.
I think that's one of the big secrets right there, Simon. Compounding, but continue to go through until you break through and you get that win. Do you find with people that you coach that a lot of people, there's that story of 3 feet short from gold, that a lot of people, they do, but they don't do it enough to actually even get the win itself? Like, is that something you've seen or noticed with people as well too, even ourselves?
Yeah, totally. It's like, getting back to the snowball effect, it's also, it goes the other way too. Every day if you're watching this, you want to win. You want to win big too, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be watching this. We're not talking about you're the average person.
Yep.
So if you want to win, you got to do it every day. Now, if you say, like my son, the one day he doesn't do it, well, the other person's do it, you just got worse. So just like he gets better and better and better, better every day, if you stop, you get worse and worse and worse and worse every day. Same thing. It goes both ways, right? So people talk about a compound effect because you get 1% better. There's a negative compound effect, which I have suffered as well, where you take 1 or 2 days off and you get 1% worse, 1%. The next thing you know, you're 30% worse. And I remember when I started prospecting, there was one weekend where on Saturday and Sunday, I didn't prospect because I relaxed. I had a really good week, big check week. And Monday, I'm prospecting on the phone. I'm like, what am I saying? I'm like, I suck. I feel like I only took 2 days off. I felt like I took 2 years off. Right. So ever since that day, I always did something. It's like a workout, right? You exercise. You don't go to the gym for a while. You lose a lot. So even if you can't go to the gym, do something small.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not bench pressing, working out, hey, do like 30 push-ups. At least you're doing something. You're not going to lose as much.
I think that's.
But anyway, I don't forget what the question was you asked.
No, that's exactly what it is. So everybody here, because I think some people think it's like, I'm either going to do it perfect or not at all. Just do something. And in fact, anything as you're listening to this, what do you want? Is it business?
Well, let's talk about perfection, right?
Yeah.
If you don't do it, how do you even know what perfection is? Right? You don't even know. It's 1% better. It's getting a little bit better. And you're never going to get good until you get started. The reason why doing it every day is so important is because, just for example, like, and I know when I first started off this interview, I was a little rusty because I actually, in the last week or so, I have not been interviewed by someone. I've been interviewing other people, but I haven't been interviewed, right? So, but once I do this interview, the 1 or 2 things that could have been better is fresh in my mind. And if I get interviewed again tomorrow, I can make this a quick adjustments. Again, it goes back to the compound effect, right? But if just say I took a 1 or 2 weeks off and then I get on another show, then I kind of what we did here, the mistakes I made, I totally forget because so much happens in our lives. We forget, and you're back to scratch again.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going back to the baseball analogy. Is there's some players, and you see it in kids, they're great at practice, but they totally suck in hit. My wife's like, you should use the word suck because your kids are going to learn about it. But they suck at tournament play, right? Because in baseball, the important thing is at-bats are really important. Game situation at-bats. Because you just say you went 0 for 5, but you immediately can make adjustments really quickly on the next one.
Right.
Right? If you don't play much, then you kind of forgot what happened, and you're starting from scratch again.
Yeah.
So I'll give an example. By consistency, something is wrong with my Instagram account. I do a pep talk every day, 5 days a week, and at 8:25 a.m. And that's another question people ask. It's like, when's the best time to post on social media? It's a common question. The best time to post is when you can post consistently. Number one, for me, it's 5:25 a.m. in the morning. It's not a good time, but it's a great time for people in Asia. We got to stop thinking global, not local. This is poor people think local, middle class think national, successful people think global. Right? Like global. So 8:25 a.m. in the morning is not good for Eastern time. Oh, but it's great for Central time because 7:25 people are driving to work, but it's too early for Mountain time, and definitely 5 a.m. in the morning, California is terrible. But I'm thinking global, right? And that's more importantly is the time I can go consistently. So I go consistently, and there's a bug on my Instagram app where I have this device where I do, I'm sure you do the same thing, Instagram and Facebook at the same time, right? One phone, my new phone is on Instagram, my older one, I do at the same time. So my Instagram kept on crashing. I would do this, and when I hit live, it will crash. It was like, I cannot connect. Weak internet. That's totally nonsense because my internet is fine. All my other stuff is working, but Instagram wouldn't launch. And then I would have to redo that same talk, which is the most annoying, same talk another time for Instagram. One for Facebook, one for Instagram. I hate this. So I would tinker around with all the different settings. And 2 weeks later, after tinkering, it's like a trial and test. I'll try this to see if it works. I'll try this to see if it works. Finally, 2 weeks later, I found out if I look at the settings and toggle the front camera and toggle back to back, toggle to the back camera and back to front camera, knock on wood, it works. That's what I do. Even today, it's been a year. Before I go live, I toggle to back, then back to front. It works. Now, I would never figure that out if it wasn't doing consistently every day. Right? Because just if I did it for 1 or 2 weeks later, I would have forgotten what I did the previous day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. So if you guys, I actually have that problem.
There are so many stories like that. Stories like that with the tech stuff. Like if you did this, it'll work. If you don't do this, it won't work.
What I'm getting from you, Simon, through this whole conversation as we're winding down is, guys, if you struggle with consistency, first of all, follow Simon everywhere. Grab his book, The Consistency Pill. He is a no BS straight shooter, as you can tell. He'll tell you how it is. And it's super important because it doesn't matter how great your idea is, doesn't matter how great your business is, doesn't matter how faithful you are or anything. If you don't have consistency, you're not going to succeed. Even Jesus, when he was doing his ministry every day, early in the morning, he would go pray by himself. So there were things that even Jesus did as God himself to be consistent in, right? So you must do that. But also what I'm getting from you, Simon, today is that enjoy the process. Just know it's a process. There is no such thing as perfection, just striving to get to the next level and have a good humility with it. It's a learning process, these little things that actually make the biggest differences, but you have to go through it. You have to grow through it. So we have all those going down there. So be sure to follow Simon, all of his social media channels, go to his website, go grab the book. It's in our links and everything. But a couple quick questions, Simon, as we're ending today. And thanks for blessing us with your time. I know you have so much stuff going on these days. But what are some favorite Bible verses or stories currently, even?
My favorite verse has to be James 1:5. If any of you lacks wisdom, and you know what, I can't even remember right now, but if any of you lacks wisdom, ask God, who gives generously to all without fault. Something like that, along those lines.
Yes.
So I should know it by heart, but it's something. If any of you lacks wisdom, ask God, who gives generously to all without fault.
So huge.
James 1:5. That's something I pray because we definitely all need wisdom every single day.
Amen. Yep. I look at that all the time.
And the other one would be Matthew 4:4. He does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God.
Amen to that, guys. Hey, if you're a faith-based entrepreneur, you need this book. This is the best book in the world, and it's all right there. Awesome. Any favorite? You mentioned some books, but any other favorite books or even like churches, pastors that you recommend to our audience?
Good question. The Bible, first of all, is the only book you really, really need. Every single book, if even my book and your book coming out, is all reiterations or wisdom taken from the Bible.
True.
Okay? Any book you read, whether it's the compound effect or whatever, all stuff we talked about, is all comes from the Bible.
Yeah.
So, but it's just maybe told in a different way, different story. So I read Proverbs every single day. Number one is the Bible. In terms of specific pastors and sermons, no one ever asked me that question. I'll probably say, just off the top of my head without thinking about it, Hillsong. Brian, I can't think of his name right now. Brian, Pastor Brian, the head pastor. The reason why, because he's gone through a lot of adversity. And I know the Hillsong Church is a very controversial church. When I went to Australia, actually, attended the Hillsong services. I loved it. But it's been very it's had a lot of controversy. Definitely not a great past, his dad, if you research it. But the fact that he went through that, it's and how the church got started was amazing, very inspiring.
And I love human stories, because no matter what church, it's all ran by humans. And just as you saw today with Simon and me, we're all human. We had the most craziest, funniest things happen today while we're going through this. And the last thing would be this, Simon. If you had a message that you'd give to
Brian Houston, that's the name.
Brian Houston, yes.
Brian
That's
Houston.
right, Brian Houston. Go check him out for sure. If you had a message, because I truly believe that the next generation of ministry, the biggest impact is going to be through the marketplace. Billy Graham said this, Rick Warren said this. It's the place to be right now. So for the kingdom builder, for the faith-based entrepreneur, what message would you want to be able to leave them with?
Be bold. Share from your heart. And I'll share a story with you. A lot of people say they like the fact that I'm bold with my faith. But it's not. I feel like that's my calling. Right? It's not like I did it because it makes me happier. I feel that's the right thing to do. And with the time we have, I'll just share this. It was a couple of years ago. I went to a retreat, and this is interesting how God humbles you. And I felt that my purpose here is not to make money for network marketing. My ultimate purpose is to inspire as many people to accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. That's what will make me happy. My proudest moment, happiest moment in life was when my brother got saved.
Wow. Okay,
he had a lot of troubled past in high school, but he got saved and turned his life around. Wow. I'm really proud. We're not close, but through my influence, I definitely didn't do it. God did it. I guided him, got him to church, and God did the rest. So I remember a couple of years I went to a church retreat, and then during quiet time, I realized I was playing too small. Like I should proclaim how God is a miracle, is awesome, right? And so during the break, then I was going to I got to be bold of God, I got to tell him how awesome it is. And I remember during the break, it was in the mountains in LA, very pretty place. And I took a selfie, and I was going to post it. I'm so grateful that God blessed me this great weekend. Jesus Christ, I love this. And then I was like, wait, hold on. I was going to do the selfie and say, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, is so grateful you blessed. It was after the quiet time. And then I was like, wait, hold on. If I did Jesus Christ and Lord and Savior, like some people, my followers be offended, and like I can't do that. Like that's pushing to the edge. And then I caught myself like, wait a second. I felt like Peter. Like, what a sellout. Like 30 minutes ago, that quiet time, I thought I was going to be bold. And now I'm going to do a selfie. I'm about to, instead of like putting Jesus Christ, I'll just say, thank God for this beautiful weekend. I was like ashamed to put Jesus in there. Like, what type of sellout am I? That was like a really humbling moment. Like I felt like I was so proud and excited to be bold. And in less than an hour later, with that selfie, God humbled me. It's like, you're not that great. You need me. And that was that humbling. And that's when I decided, you know what? I did post Jesus. It's like, if I lose followers, so be it. I don't care. I got to live what's true. And then ever since that the next week at the bottom of all our websites is John 3:16, bottom of all MLM Nation websites. So it's like, this is what I need to do.
Wow. I think that's an important check for each and every single one of us. Especially when we delve into the world of entrepreneurship, we do a lot of good things, but is it God things? And we have
Yeah.
to think about a priority with things. And if you do that, put first him and his righteousness, and all those other things will be added to you. We trust in who he is. He will deliver. He is faithful. Simon, thank you so much for your time. Guys, here's Simon Chan. Be sure to follow him on everything. Grab his book. Check out his website. Follow him on all of his stuff. He does so much amazing content. You will not be disappointed at all. Thank you once again, Simon, and God bless.
Thank you so much here for having me here, James. I appreciate you, brother. Take care. God bless.